Hi, my name is Lisa. This is One Lisa Show and it's Friday Sews edition. Stick around because I have a lot to talk about today. Welcome, my name is Lisa. Welcome to One Lisa Show. And today, happy Friday, everyone. This has been a very long week for me. I have worked a lot and it hasn't been fun work. But I have quite the week I had. So first things first, I am wearing Simplicity 9116, which is a newer pattern and it is an easy to sew pattern. Here are the line drawings. So it's again a puffy sleeve or a statement sleeve, a gathered dress and top with the cuffs or without, and also pants. So I'm actually wearing this version B, but I elasticated the cuffs. So see here, it's not elasticated. I elasticated mine and I love it. It's got a very retro 80s feel to it. I would love to make more of these. And next time I make them, I will elongate, make it a little longer. I thought it's a little too cropped for me otherwise, and I will shorten my sleeves. But I will probably do another one where I elasticate the cuff band again, and I'll probably do one where it's not elasticated and just loose. So Indiana, we finally got spring. It's going to be 90 degrees tomorrow. So we went from very cold where I brought out my winter jacket and now 90 degrees tomorrow. And it's been kind of warm the past few days this week. So it is time for me to officially move out of the attic and go to the basement. So those are my plans. Go to the basement this weekend. I got that wonderful serger, the Fun Lock, Burnett by Bernina from Sherry at Granny Sewing Room. That has been hooked up. I have learned how to use it. I am ridiculously happy and pleased with myself. And actually, since this is my first go at a serger, Granny, sorry, that's what my boyfriend calls her now, Granny. Sherry had left it threaded and then all I had to do was attach the spools and it threaded itself. Well, then when I was playing with it, I must have cut too close to the presser foot. And anyway, one of my loopers unthreaded, and it was the one that's very hard to rethread. So I had to watch a YouTube video. I tried my best and I thought, this must be missing something because it just wasn't going, and finally I got it. So I've been very happy and I played with that yesterday, even though everything has got to move to the basement. So my plans this weekend are to clean up the basement space that I used last summer. But now I have an extra table, now I have a serger and then my ironing board. So it has kind of grown in the past year of all the equipment I have. We'll see what happens. That's also an unfinished space and the lighting is very poor. So I am hoping, I have an option that I want to work on, but it won't be done in time for me to move into the basement. And if this weekend is going to be 90 like they're saying it might, I think it's just going to be way too hot up there for me to work this weekend. Let's see. So what else has happened this week? So I think last weekend I finished up a blouse for my mom. I made her a Frankie tee by Tilly and the Buttons. It was very cute. I don't even think I got a picture of it, but if I did, I'll pop it in here. And I also made a pair of shorts for my niece Sarah, who is 9, and they are the Pearl Soho City Gym shorts. Free pattern. I will put the link again to that below in the description as well. That was awesome. I want to make myself a pair of those shorts. And I'll pop in I think I actually made a little video I'll pop in here. So I wanted to show a pair of shorts I made for my niece. These are just something I made with scrap fabric, and my niece is 9. This is the Pearl Soho City Gym shorts. It's a free pattern. And it's really simple. They suggest you make your own bias binding, but I didn't. I bought store-bought bias tape for this. I added a drawstring, but it's very simple. You can do it with a half yard of fabric for a child size. And this is scrap fabric, but it has that old school, like 1980s gym shorts look to it, but it's modern. I do want to make some shorts for myself. So I have some, this was clearanced, I forget what type of twill it was. It's a very drapey olive green twill that I got from Joann's a few months back. And here's the twill pattern. This is the right side. But it's a very drapey, lightweight, very soft clearance twill. I think it was a viscose twill, or I can't remember. Regardless, I'm going to try my hand at this quick sew pattern K3854, and I'm going to make this version the sailor shorts. I have traced the pattern for the extra large, which is, I gotta take my glasses off for this, which is a hip of, well, a waist of 35 to 37 and a hip of 45 to 47. I fall right in there for that. So I'm gonna do the extra large. Do I have a little spot there? I have not decided if I'm gonna toile it or not. That was clearance fabric, so I really just don't know. I might just go for it. Most patterns I go for. And I do have a plenty of this, so if there is a disaster of sorts, I probably will have enough left to start over or unpick it and make a smaller version if I need a smaller version. So I think I'm going to be fine. I'm good at unpicking. The other thing is I purchased sock yarn. I do knit. I have a knitting machine that is older, and over the winter I made some sweaters on the knitting machine. I am not the best hand knitter, but I do know the basics. I figure I have made myself bras. I've made myself underwear. The next one down the line is a sock, and there are lots of YouTube videos about making socks. So I kind of got sucked in the other night when I was up and I couldn't fall asleep. So I got myself some Patons Kroy sock yarn at Joann's, and this stuff is not cheap. It says it takes 2 balls of yarn to make a pair of socks, but it was like $5 something for a ball of yarn. So all in all, I'm spending like over $10, and I had to buy the needles, which you can use over and over. But yeah, we shall see. We shall see, but I don't plan to finish a pair of socks, but I do plan to start a pair of socks this weekend. And then on the personal front, and this is something that's really, this really bothered me. Okay, here is something I want to talk about that's not sewing or knitting or craft or baking related, but I think the majority of my viewers are women. And I think something happened to me this weekend, and I think it just was it. I'm 44. I've never had kids. I don't have children. My boyfriend, who I call Big Daddy, I'll tell you that story another time, but his name is Big Daddy to me. So Big Daddy has family spread out all over the country. And Saturday at dinner time, we had someone pulled up. It turned out it was my boyfriend's aunt and uncle. They live in another state. I've never met them. I'm preparing dinner. I'm in my pajamas. And they just pull up. So my boyfriend is actually very excited to see them. Now their son, Big Daddy's cousin, their son has been to our house and has stayed with us and come to visit. And so I know their son pretty good. He used to come once or twice a year to visit and spend a weekend with my boyfriend. Anyway, so I'm introduced to them in my pajamas, which I don't care about. They came over unannounced. And my boyfriend was so happy. So I met his aunt, and his aunt shakes my hand and grabs it and says, there's no ring on this finger. And she looks at me and she looks at Big Daddy. And I said, no, there isn't. And I go, it's okay. We're happy. And so she says, how long have you two been together? Well, we've been together since 2006, I think. So that puts us at 15 years. So we've been together about 15 years. And no ring. No ring. I don't need to explain myself to you, lady. And my boyfriend does not need to explain our personal relationship to you. I'm used to that, no ring on your finger, and I'm okay with it. Then the next question came, and this is where it took me. Do you have children? No, we don't. Why don't you have children? And no, she goes, why don't you have any kids? Why don't you have any kids? Why do you have kids? This is a very personal question. And I don't feel like every time someone asks me, why don't you have children? Because this happens very often. This was my snapping moment. It may have been hormonal. It may have been other things that snowballed through the day. But see, it's still bothering me. People say and ask all the time, why don't you have any kids? Why don't you have children? And quite frankly, that needs to stop. Guess what? It's none of your business. It's just none of your business. And so me trying to be super polite because this is my boyfriend's aunt that I have never met and kind of feeling like this is just not what I want to deal with today. I didn't say the whole story, but we never planned children. We never planned children. And when I was 36, I had leukemia. And the day after my bone marrow biopsy, they had already suspected it was leukemia. So that's the formalities, the bone marrow biopsy. And so I'm in the hospital, rushed in an ambulance, by the way, the night before, in the hospital, getting the bone marrow, this is before the bone marrow test. The next day, they started me on the chemo medication, some pills, and all the antibiotics and the blood products. And my boyfriend was there, and they come in the door, the doctors, and talk to us about fertility. I had just moved in with my boyfriend. We had been together. That was in 2013, and we had been together since 2006. And I had just moved in with him like 2 months before that happened. So that was our first really big step. And so obviously we have taken our relationship very slow. And they walked in and said, we need to talk to you guys about fertility. And so we had the conversation. Do you want to pause your treatment and try to harvest your eggs? And I was 36. And we didn't even look at each other. My boyfriend was like, let's save her life first and worry about that later. So anyway, I'm sharing this with you, but this is not something I shared with this woman. So I'll tell you what I told her. But so anyway, I went through menopause at 36. My menopause reversed. I'm going through menopause again. But in that process of after it reversed and going through menopause again, they found a condition that's like endometriosis, and I couldn't say it properly if I tried. Endometriosis. Anyway, once you are found to have that condition, they recommend a hysterectomy. So it's not like children are anywhere in the cards for me. And I distinctly remember being like maybe 19 or 20 years old, going on a date with this guy. It was our first date, and he was like, how many kids do you want? And I was like, kids? I'm like in college, and that is the last thing I'm thinking about. I just want to get to know you. that was the only date I had with that guy, and he was really nice. And but just that whole, how many kids do you want? Oh, how many kids do you want? How many kids do you want? And I was done. That was the last thing I was thinking about when I was 18 or 19 years old. And Neil and I never talked about kids. And so his aunt, why don't you have any kids? I said, well, that ship has sailed. That's not in our future. And she's like, well, you look so young. I said, well, I'm 44. I go, actually, I had cancer some time ago. And so I went through the change early. So I wasn't lying, but I wasn't telling her my whole personal story. And that's my point. That's nobody's business. So at dinner, after they left, they just visited for like 15, 20 minutes. And I said, you know what? Next time someone asks me, why don't you have kids? I am going to respond with, because vampires can't have children. Because I don't think it's anyone's business, and it's nicer than saying, that's a very personal question and none of your business. To make me maybe make light of it. And I sometimes joke that I'm kind of like a vampire because for so long I needed blood every day because I wasn't making my own. And the side effects with all the chemo I went through is I'm super sensitive to light now. So I do kind of joke around that I'm a vampire because I can't handle the light. And when I say I can't handle the light, I obviously have sensitive skin, but I also get these massive migraines, and they're caused from it's a side effect of the chemo, is your eyes are very light sensitive, and it can trigger really crazy headaches. So that's something that will follow me probably for the rest of my life. But then the fact that I needed blood so every day, I needed some kind of blood product for so long. So I had just joked. And so I said, that's what I'm going to tell her. Anyway. So if you ask people, why don't you have any kids? Just think that sometimes it's not a simple answer. And sometimes people just don't want to tell other people, I don't like kids. I don't want kids. I don't feel I'm a maternal person. And other times it's absolutely nothing, that it just didn't happen. It didn't happen. And then when we got to a point where we probably felt like this would be a good time to talk about having kids, it was too late. So now we talk about, should I have a hysterectomy or not? And it just wasn't, it just hurts. And it needs to end. I'm used to, why aren't you married? Why aren't you married? I get it from my parents. I get it from his parents. I get it from my aunts and uncle. My aunt. I have an aunt, Fran, and I can't see her without saying, why aren't you married yet? Because we're not. It's just that simple. Would we get married today? Probably not. Do we love each other? Yes. Is that your business? No. That man took care of me and has been there for me. And he's a good provider, and I love him, and he loves me, and there we go. What does it matter? And just be polite. Don't be so accusatory, because that question is so accusatory. That's my waffle. I'm sure I could say that story better. Even though I know she necessarily didn't have cruel intent in asking that question, and maybe that was her version of making small talk, it still bothers me that women ask each other that question. The married question, I get it a lot. That one doesn't bug me as much as the children question. That is my Friday. I'm looking forward to sharing some of these projects as they're coming along, and I'm looking forward to working in the basement. I'm not looking forward to working in the basement. Have a great weekend. Thanks for sticking around and watching this. And I hope to show you more later this weekend on my progress. And have a great day. Thank you. Bye-bye.